Strategy Battle gamers around the world, welcome to another There and Back Again special video with your channel host GBHL James
and GBHL Steve,
and we are doing part 2 There and Back Again, looking at the good heroes. Remember, you can tune in on this channel to see the whole book being reviewed by various GBHL channel hosts, all of the sections, or you can get yourself over onto Hotcakes Gaming, of course, where you can see me talking about the bits that I don't get to talk about on here. Hope you enjoyed part 1. If you haven't checked that out, do go and check that out. We are on to part 2 of the good heroes. And in fact, no better place to start with a profile which has seen some changes. We have got Thranduil, King of the Woodland Realm, and immediately there's an obvious thing there.
He is 10 points more expensive.
10 points more expensive.
So it's quite pricey.
Well, I thought he was quite cheap for what you got before.
Yeah, it was one of my favourite profiles from Hobbit releases, I have to say. And the points that it was made it very attractive, and a lot of people use it. Very, very attractive. I think one of the issues with him, people did think he was a bit cheap because, automatically you're going to compare him to similar-ish kind of profiles, such as, for example, Glorfindel. A lot of people would compare him to Glorfindel and think, wow, he's very, very, very cheap for what you're getting with him. His stat line has remained exactly the same. It's exactly the same stat line. So if you've got his stat line in the old books, it is the same as his war gear. Yeah. But an immediate thing that we can see is his options. His special rules, he's gained Expert Rider, and that's for a reason. Yeah. But Blade Lord is the same as well. Let's talk about his options. What does he gain? Well, he gets the options to take an elf bow, which he didn't have in the last Thranduil profile.
So finally, you can make use of his 2+2 value, if you should wish. He is a bit more of a combat profile.
Yeah, but it's well worth having. That's well worth having. The pot shots here and there are really good.
Yeah, 2+ strength 3.
Yeah, horse was there before, and he gets the option for the elk.
The elk.
Not seen yet.
Now I have to say that in this book there have been lots of model new profiles and things that I am quite excited to see the profiles, some new models for. Sorry. Yeah. I think that this model is probably the one that I am the most excited about. Yeah. Now that we've had Dan.
Yes.
This is.
Yeah. I hope they do a new foot model as well, though.
Yeah, I think.
I hope it's another Dane foot mounted.
I'll pay 40 quid for that.
All day long. All day long.
Quid.
If you're listening.
They are listening.
All day.
They are listening. I know that they've got this on. There you go. Steve will buy 2. I'll buy 1. I would pay £40 for a foot mounted of that. If we're getting something of the same kind of quality as Dane, absolutely, because it's absolutely beautiful. So an elk. Now we talked in part 1 because we've got some very different kind of mounts now, which is something that we didn't really. Yes, you had your Sons of Ale steeds, which were a little bit for armoured horses and the like. You had your ponies. But now we've got goats, now we've got war pig, and now we've also got an elk. So what is the stat line for an elk?
The stat line for the elk is move 10, so a 10-inch move, which is good. Fight 4, strength 4, defense 5, 0 attacks obviously, 2 wounds.
Another 2 wound mount. Yeah. It's basically an armoured horse with an extra wound. Yes. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely huge.
I think it's worth the points.
Yeah, so it's the price of 2 horses, but it's not just the stat line and the extra wound. I mean, it's a big thing for a hero to have a 2 wound mount. We can't understate that really. Mm. It's a very common tactic in strategy battle game for you to, if you win a combat, or if you've got Legolas auto hitting, is to try and get rid of a hero horse. Because 10 points for a horse, for what it enables a hero to do, it's actually pretty cheap. So for a hero to have access just for an extra 10 points, which I think is well worth it, alone, to have a 2 wound mount with extra defence is absolutely huge. However, it doesn't stop there, does it, Steve?
No, it gets a special rule. So basically, on the charge, if he wins the fight, his strikes are resolved at strength 5.
Now that is massive. He's basically Aemma, but better.
Better, yeah.
But a lot better. So strength 5 on the charge, that's huge.
It's awesome.
Huge. Knocking down, got the 2 wounds, it's more survivable, which is obviously great, but strength 5, basically getting devastating charge that Aemma has. And I think 20 points all day long.
Yeah, and reflects the film again.
Yeah, reflects the film.
Reflects the film.
It's also a fair points cost to, if you think about it and you were pricing up, if a horse is 10 points, you get an extra defence for the horse, which is 5 points, and you get in a special rule with a horse, another 5 points, 20 points. Yeah, that's what I said. Extra defence, extra wound. Oh gosh, sorry, extra defence, extra wound, and a special rule. So I think that's cheap.
All day.
I think it's really, really, really good. And as such, he also gains the Expert Rider Special Rule. The Expert Rider Special Rule. So he is a little bit more expensive. This guy is probably going to be coming in at 160 points, which is pretty expensive for a hero.
It is.
But he's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen a lot of him at the price that he was anyway, and I think that extra few points for what you get in for that extra few points, I think you're going to see a lot of him again. Because people are going to want to play that. They're going to want to use that in game. I am.
The thing that you're going to get as well is that one thing that you would see with Thranduil before is that people would often have that debate about whether it's better to have him foot or mounted, because he's 4 attacks on foot. And he gets +1 for obviously everything in base contact. He's not getting that when he's mounted. So a lot of people will have the very, very kind of valid tactic, as it were, of in the first combat. Or first opportunity to charge, you charge in, you'd heroic combat, you charge into something else, or into multiple things, and you could dismount him, or you would try and dismount him the following turn and sort of wade him in, which is incredibly fun. Very kind of Boromir of Gondor-esque style profile. But now you've got a serious predicament, because I don't think you want this elk to die necessarily.
No.
And your opponent's got a bit of a predicament.
It's tough. I used to, because I always mounted him. But I used to use the mount to kind of see in the first couple of turns how it was playing out, the scenario, and use the movement to position him to where I wanted him. And then I wasn't really bothered if he got dismounted. And sometimes I'd dismount him purposely.
Whereas at 20 points, getting strength 5 on the charge, you're an expert rider, 2 wound, defense 5 mount. I think that it not only does it provide you as a Thranduil player as a little bit of a which way do I go here? I think that you keep him on the elk, but it also provides your opponent that thing of, well, when he's charging in on his elk, he's smashing me up, his killing power is incredible. But if I dismount that elk, that's going to take some serious resources. It's going to take some serious resources, and then he's on foot and he's getting extra attacks. Exactly. So I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think it's well thought out changes. I think that it's better that he's more expensive, because I thought he was a bit cheap before, and I think it lines up with what we saw in the movie. So great changes there, and the model that I'm probably the most looking forward to. So with some buffs there, we're now actually coming to a model that we knew we were going to see some changes to. One that I completely understand. I'm a little bit sad from a competitive point of view. Because I love this profile, but Legolas is gone.
Tournament players are going to be upset that it's gone, but I think it is a good thing.
Absolutely makes sense.
I think it's a good thing it's gone.
Legolas was a profile from the Fellowship that, before any changes,
was near on perfect.
Was beautifully, beautifully balanced, and very good and very effective. Annoying as hell for an opponent.
And wasn't OP.
A game changer. To repeat myself as always, but and what they've basically done is they stripped back this Legolas Prince of Mirkwood profile that we had, and they've basically given us old Legolas. It's basically old Legolas, but he comes with armour and options.
The armour's auto,
so instead of having to pay the 5 points extra for the armour is included. Of course, he comes with elbow, and he's listed as pair of daggers as well. Okay, but he's also got some different options as well, hasn't he?
So he's got the option of an elven cloak, which is always nice. He's got the option for his horse, which he had, and now Orcrist is an option for an upgrade.
So before he got that as standard, didn't he? But now he can actually take it as an upgrade. So no longer have you got the thing with Thorin, where Thorin could only take it if Legolas, Prince of Mirkwood, was in, so you couldn't take it before if Legolas was in there with it. Now you can choose which one has it, which again reflects the movies, because of course Legolas does give Thorin,
the interchange.
He does give it back. So I think that these are welcome changes. So of course a cheaper Legolas comes with armour, but he's got more options basically.
So it's still an awesome profile.
It's an awesome profile. So next up we come to Tauriel. Now Tauriel is basically a little bit of a combination of the Tauriels that we saw before. She's the same points as she. But one thing has changed from what we saw before, which is
the option for a bow.
Which makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we've got basically the upgraded Tauriel that we saw in the Battle of Five Armies book. Has basically been combined. She can bring a bow now as well.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
So brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Next up, who have we got?
Mirkwood Captain.
Any changes with the Mirkwood Captain?
Yeah, he's got a +1 defence, which he should have always had as a player who's played Mirkwood.
Yeah.
The defence was an issue, big time, and yeah, they've rectified it and it's just made it better, basically. And that's the only difference, same points and everything.
Fantastic. So instead of being a Defence 5 captain, 75 points, not great, he's now a Defence 6 captain. And he's got heavy armour, so that makes absolute sense. Normally with a hero, if you've got heavy armour or a shield, you're Defence 6. If you've got both, you're normally Defence 7. Normally, unless you're a dwarf, of course, with your heavy armour and the like.
Yep.
Then we've also got some more changes to some captains here. We've got Palace Guard Captain.
The Palace Guard Captain is -1 defence.
Interesting. So he was Defence 7 before.
Yeah, but he gets the option to take a shield, which would put him back up.
Yeah.
Which is good. And they have no spear option this time around.
Okay, brilliant.
Which is fine by me. I don't think you're really going to be using him as a support model anyway.
And that makes sense. This is another thing that we're going to see as a little bit of a trend when reviewing some of the older models, I think, is trying to make sure that models also, well not models, that profiles match up with the models.
Yeah.
There was no Palace Guard Captain with a spear as a model option, so that's going to take some converting, and there's none with a shield. It doesn't come with a shield on the model standard, so therefore it should be there as an option. Should a player want to take it, they can make that effort to do the converting or transfer one over. So it makes absolute sense. Mirkwood Ranger captain, exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
And then we come over to Bilbo Baggins, the Master Burglar. Now the only thing that's changed here is the fact that everything is listed as war gear before the rules for it. So this is something that, if you look at the Battle of Fire, the Five Armies and some of the other source books, sometimes what happens is you get war gear listed and then you get war gear that isn't listed, the special rules.
Yeah, the special rules makes an assumption of the war gear rather than it being stated. Yeah.
Now war gear, it's all stated, and then you get the special rule for it, which I think is a welcome change.
Yeah.
And then of course then it ties in with other rules across the game as well. But apart from that, he's exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
But somebody who isn't the same, it's Bard the Bowman.
Another one of my faves.
One of your favourites, so go on, you can talk about
it.
Yeah,
he's 10 points cheaper, it's always a bonus.
Been crying out for that, because he was expensive.
Yeah, and Bard the Bowman, being a bowman, being famous for having a bow, can now have a great bow.
Hey, so what's a great bow? Strength 4 bow?
Strength 4 bow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and with his special rule, it's just immense. The wind lance, if you take it as an option, as again the accurate rule.
Okay, which means it only scatters 3 inches rather than 6.
3 inches rather than 6, yeah. And like we mentioned before, the rapid fire on the great bow is going to be something that he's going to do a lot of.
You've basically got a combination of the profiles from Desolation of Smaug, when you had Bard the Bowman 120 points, and the Bard Girion Zera. It's now you've got one combined profile, which again you've seen a lot between Desolation of Smaug and the Battle of Five Armies. A lot of those profiles have been condensed together. And that's all that's really happening with Legolas and the like as well. You're condensing Desolation of Smaug Legolas and also Battle of Five Armies Legolas as well. So yep, he's got rapid fire, he's got his options on, he's still 3s in all the right places, hero, still got his options. The Wind Lance is a little bit better, and he's got his rapid fire rule and a bow, a great bow. New profiles. So, exciting. Not only do we have Bard with his changes,
we now have Bane.
We have Bane, son of Bard. Bane, son of Bard. So he is cheap. He's cheap.
He is cheap. He's cheap. He's gonna help you hoard out Lake Town.
He certainly is. So Lake Town hoards are already a thing. What you're going to see with a lot of these cheap assisting buffing kind of style profiles, so Bane, Sigrid and Tilda, some of the others which we're going to come to, is that they are definitely there. They're going to enable you to hoard out even more, but they're also going to provide huge buffs to that hoard. This one is a little bit different. He enables others to create buffs. So Bane himself, he's fight 3, strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 2 wounds, courage 4. He's got 1 might, he's got 3 will and 2 fate. Nothing really exceptional there.
Yeah, nothing outstanding.
It comes with sword and armour, but special rules. He's got family bond. Bane values his family above all else and will fight hard to protect them. Whilst Bane, son of Bard, is within 6 inches of Bard the Bowman, he gains a bonus of +1 to his courage value.
Which puts him up to 5, and with 3 will.
Yeah, he's going to be
there for the long haul.
He's going to be able to charge terror causing models.
Yes.
That's basically, he's going to be able to, and he's not going to run away easily.
No.
He's not going to run away easily as long as Bard the Bowman's around. But you might look at that standalone, which you definitely shouldn't do with these new things. You could look at that standalone and think, that's not particularly great, 40 points, but he can lead troops.
Yep.
So it's a 40-point hero that can lead troops. You're going to be able to hoard out this late town. For now, that's all we're going to say about Bane, because he's going to come up again. And he's going to come up again now, because next up we've got Sigrid and Tilda, who aren't men, they're women.
Yeah.
And they're
children.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. 30 points for both. Now these are independent heroes, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what's the stat lines?
The stat line for Sigrid is move 6, as you'd expect. Fight 2, 4+ shoot value. Strength 2, defense 2, attacks 1, 1 wound, and 4 courage. They have no might, 1 will, 2 fate. Tilda is pretty much exactly the same, except she's only fight 1 and courage 3. She's the younger of the 2 sisters.
She's the younger. Now they can only be included in your army if they contain Bard or Bane. They can't lead warbands because they're independent heroes, but they can be included as part of either Bard or Bane's warband. They're both unarmed, so they're not going to be doing anything combat-y, but we wouldn't expect that when we look at those profiles, would we?
No.
They are going to be there for some special rules. Have you read these yet?
Yeah, I've briefly read them, and they're pretty good.
They're very good, very good. Those Lake Town players can certainly be happy. Okay, so we've got down there. Bard and Bane will stop at nothing to protect their family. Bard the Bowman and Bane, son of Bard, receive a bonus of +1 to their fight value if they are within 6 inches of either Sigrid or Tilda. Okay, so that's +1 to the fight value. So Bard, one of his instant weaknesses, goes. He becomes a fight 6.
That's
big. That's big for him. It's really big for him.
That's matching Legolas.
Well, yeah, it is big for him. But I can understand that. It makes sense from a fluffy point of view, I think. But that also means that Bane becomes fight 4, and that might not seem massive, but against evil armies, that's going to be really useful. It's going to be really useful. But get this. If Bard, the Bowman, or Bane, son of Bard, are within 6 inches of both Sigrid and Tilda, so before it was whether either, if they're in range both, they receive a bonus of +1 to their fight value, so they go up to what we talked about before, and may call a heroic combat each turn without spending might. That's good. That is good. So if you've got both of those in range, of Bard or Bane, most likely Bard, then wow. Heroic combat, free heroic combat, and +1 fight value. So all of a sudden you can see that Bard, even though Bard is still expensive, I think, for a defense 4 up to 5, he's going to be defense 5, isn't he?
Yep.
Still expensive for a defense 5, fight 5 hero. All of a sudden, you pay a little bit more for other things, and they're going to buff him up a little bit.
Yeah. Bearing in mind that Bard the Bowman is now cheaper.
Yes.
And they're only 30 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably. You're probably going to bring them. Now they've also got another rule: something to fight for. Bard will protect his daughters above all else. Should Sigrid or Tilda fall, Bard will be driven mad with grief. This is a really good fluffy rule. Something that we saw a lot in the old Lord of the Rings era. I believe Éomer used to have it with Éowyn.
Yeah.
Of course, the twins still have it with Unbreakable Bond. If either Sigrid or Tilda are slain, Bard the Bowman will automatically pass all courage tests. That's big as well. Mm-hmm. Again, especially in the current meta, Fell Beast, Terror Causing, that's pretty good. So you don't actually mind these dying that much.
No.
and must do everything he can to charge the model that killed his daughter as quickly as possible. Once that model is killed, Bard must move as fast as possible towards the nearest visible enemy model for the rest of the game, charging if possible. So he can be kited in that sense, so that is a bit of a weakness as well. It is possible for 2 models to be the target of Bard's rage if both Sigrid and Tilda have been slain. In this case, Bard will target the closest model until it's been slain, following which he will immediately target the second model. So a bit of common sense there. Once both models have been slain, Bard must continue to move as fast as possible towards the nearest visible enemy model for the rest of the game, charging if possible. Cool, fluffy rules.
Love it.
Very, very cool. Love it. Well done, guys. Absolutely spot on.
Bang on.
Really, really cool. So we come on to some more Lake Town heroes. We've got Master of Lake Town. Master's the same, yeah?
Exactly the same. It's just the fact that any special rule Braga has been added to the
So Braga is a captain of the guard, which we'll come to after we've spoken about the next one. Now, I remember when this guy came out, everybody thought that he was going to absolutely break the game. He didn't break the game, but we did start to see a lot of him. It is, of course, Alfred.
Yeah.
Alfred. This got a pretty big cheer at Ardacon when it got announced.
It did. It did.
He's still the same points and same profile, right?
Yeah.
But his Dubious Council rule has changed, and changed for the better, and in a way which we probably expected as well.
Yeah, I think it always was. There was that much of a hoo-ha about his old Dubious Council rule.
Yeah.
And I, for one, was a fan of it. But I used
That's
it.
because you don't play your Gondor anymore.
I thought it was a cool rule. Because the thing is, I think the problem with it was, if you rolled well, you got a lot for the fact that what you've paid for him.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if you roll badly, it can be as much of a hindrance. But I understand why they've done it, and I think it's cool now that he is what he is.
I think so.
I'm happy. I like the old.
If you're going to ask people what would you change immediately about Alfred the Councillor, you would say that he can only do it with either the Master of Lake Town, which I think was the original suggestion, or because it does feel like it's there to buff his special rule. Money bags with a +1 fight value. But now he can nominate a single friendly hero from the army of Lake Town or survivors of Lake Town army that's within 6 inches.
Just one hero.
Yeah, so he can no longer say, I'm going to give a point of might to him, point of might to him, point of might to him. Now he must just choose one hero per time, which I think is a good change. For each roll of a 2+, the nominated hero gains a point of might. So the D3 for rolling a 6 has gone, which means that you've not got an opportunity of potentially getting 9 might for a 20-point model, which is good. On the roll of 1, it's exactly the same. But the key thing really for me is that it's just friendly heroes. You can only nominate 1 per time. Good changes again. I think you will still see him.
Oh yeah.
I think you're going to see him in Lake Town armies because he's only 20 points.
He's 20 points and he can lead.
Yeah, you can lead troops.
So
you're going to be able to hoard them out. Yeah. So let's talk about Braga, Captain of the Guard. So we mentioned him briefly. We talked about Master of Lake Town. He's 50 points, so he's 10 more points than a normal Lake Town Guard Captain, as you would expect with a named version of a captain. He has basically got an extra point of might. However, he also gets some special rules. He gets 2 special rules. Yeah. And similar to in the last video when we talked about Iron Hill's Iron Hill's captains, we hope that this is a trend that we see to really give a nice, different, fluffy feel to all of the unnamed captains. Yeah. He's got the Master's Puppet. Braga will do the Master's bidding so long as he is well paid. As long as the Master of Lake Town has will points remaining, if Braga calls a heroic action within 6 inches of the Master of Lake Town, roll a d6. On a 4+, the heroic action is free and no points of might are spent. Basically, taskmastering himself.
50-50 chance of getting it for free. It's good.
That's incredible. That is incredible. It's really good.
It is good.
Especially got legendary hero. He's got Ael's rule there. As long as you've got. So, I mean, the Master of Lake Town. As long as he's got will points. So any kind of heroic marches with these guys, because it's unlikely that you'll have done that. You basically get heroic marches for free, I imagine. Heroic moves in the early game, you're effectively going to be getting for free, potentially.
And the thing is, he's got 3 might already, so it's worth taking the risk in them early stages.
Absolutely.
Because you think, oh well, if I don't get it, you've still got 2 might left.
Absolutely, I think that it's very good.
Yeah, it's good.
And he's 50 points, so it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So again, you can hoard these bad boys out. Air of self-importance. Braga greatly dislikes Bard and his family. Following their lead is something Braga would deem beneath him. Braga and any Lake Town guard within 3 inches of him may not partake in any heroic actions called by Bard the Bowman, Bane, or Sigrid or Tilda, which makes absolute sense. It's a fluffy rule. So again, we've got that whole sort of Saruman Gandalf consuming rivalry thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Lake Town guard captain. Same, absolutely same. And then we've got another new one. We've got Percy. Percy is the same points as Braga, and he's basically a named Lake Town Guard captain as well. So you've got another 3 might hero for 50 points, and he's only fight 3, but he's got a 3+ shoot value, and he does come with a bow.
Yeah.
He's a shooting one, isn't he? What's his special rule?
His special rule is archers this way. Percy leads the archers of Lake Town to war against the onslaught of orcs. Percy and the Lake Town militia within 6 inches of Percy may re-roll wands to hit when making shooting attacks with a bow.
That's really good.
It is really good.
Another 3 might hero, 50 points. You're enabled to. Yep, he's not got good fight value or anything, but he's got a 3+ shoot value. Comes with a bow, and he's going to be leading your archers, isn't he? You bring this guy, he leads your archers.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very, very good. Very, very, very good.
I really like it. I really like all the profiles.
Well, Lake Town is very, very good. I thought they were good before. They're very good now. Who wrote these? They're very good. So yeah, hats off. That's Percy. And next up, we've got Hilda Bianca. So yeah, we see her in the. She's the kind of battle axey kind of.
Yeah, her and Alfred don't get on, do they?
No, they don't get on.
Yeah.
She's only 30 points. She's fight 3, strength. She's fight 3 with 4+ shoot value. She's got strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 2 wounds, courage 5, 1 might, 1 will, 1 fate. She's 30 points. She's like a Damroddy kind of Baragondi character.
Yeah.
Except this, she's got special rules that stand by our men.
Hilda Bianca rallies the survivors of Lake Town into charging bravely into the fray. During the fight phase, Hilda Bianca and Lake Town militia within 3 inches of her gain a bonus of +1 to wound.
That's huge.
If they are charged that turn.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So this army becomes all about the synergy. I bet this army is going to be incredible at sort of 800 or 750 points plus. It's going to be. I mean, it's going to be good at small points values as well.
Small points values, you can still.
You've got so many options, but I mean, like if you can get all of these things in, you've got things that are going to increase their fight value, things which are buffing their courage. You've got banner re-rolls.
Keeping track of it.
You've got +1s to wound. You've got re-rolling ones in the shooting. You've got so many things that are buffing this army. It's incredible. And again, she's only 30 points and she can lead troops.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's absolutely.
She's got a spear as well.
She's got a spear, so she's going to be sitting behind the lines, buffing that charge. +1 to wound. Strength 3 no longer too much of an issue. Remember, just wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely superb. Lake Town Militia, no change.
Same.
So the captain, absolutely the same. Saruman the Wise.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Galadriel isn't though. Galadriel is 5 points more expensive, and she's gone to strength 4.
Yeah.
So she's a bit better. She was really good anyway.
Yeah, worth the 5 points.
Worth 5 points.
Yeah.
Get an extra strength. There's a huge difference as a hero being strength 3 to strength 4. Yeah. So yeah, a bit of the kind of assuming that female profiles should be strength 3 is kind of gone with the amounts of Tauriel, and it makes sense, I suppose. Galadriel should be strength 4. She's a beast.
Yeah.
She's a beast. Radagast the Brown riding Great Eagle. Any changes there?
5 points cheaper.
So not 210 anymore, 205. Again, it'd be quite interesting to see because nothing else has changed. Nothing else has changed.
The war gear on the Eagle is named, as is everything now.
Yeah.
And we had a little conversation, didn't we? Because it says razor sharp beak and claws, so it's as if there's 2 types of weapons.
So yeah, that becomes relevant if you come up against a Black Shield Shaman with the whole shatter thing. Those things being named and listed. The fact that there's 2 things could make a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
But the main thing being 205 points, again, you guys out there who've got all of the books in front of you, does that mean that it's much easier to make, your Guahir Because Guahir's 125, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Guahir's 125. So yeah, him being 205, suddenly everything's kind of rounded a little bit. That makes that a combined amount of 330. 330, 3 eagles. There's a 600 point army.
Bang on.
Yeah, bang on. So all of a sudden you've not got that situation where you can't make that army. You've got a 600 point army, and those are the kind of So there you go. I think those are some of the kind of changes you're seeing there where things fit with competitive match play a little bit more in terms of points and actually army building. So well done.
Yeah,
that's a good little tweak. It's a good tweak. Elrond Lord of the West. Now this was a profile that I understand why it's not changed. I think when you hear things about profiles being combined, with when you hear about Legolas and the like, with a little bit of Thranduil and those types of things, and of course Bard. I was wondering whether we would see an Elrond combined with Elronds from across Lord of the Rings and also The Hobbit. But it's worth pointing out that this is White Council, sort of Desolation of Smaug and the Battle of Five Armies era Elrond, so there aren't any changes with him at all.
I think it's a cool profile, isn't it?
It is a cool profile. I was curious whether you'd suddenly get this with the option to take a horse and maybe Wrath of the Brunion and Gift of Foresight and all those kind of things that you see.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an Elrond for the future, but nothing changed there. However, next up we've got Thrain the Broken, and there are changes. Now his old special rule, it was a little bit confusing with some things, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it like you say, it caused a bit of confusion in the way that it was worded.
Yeah.
So it's been worded and clarified a little on how you're supposed to.
Yeah. So before, if you rolled a double 1,
yeah,
it went into
your opponent got to control.
But because before it said about double sixes or something, I can't remember. But basically there was this little kind of grey area. It was like, well, hang on a minute, does he just not move or the like? That's now been cleared up, basically.
Yeah.
So do go and check that out.
So that was just if he fails his courage.
If he fails his courage, which makes sense. Instead of this weird kind of middle ground where you weren't sure, does that mean that he can't move at all?
Yeah.
Does he go under evil control? Is he still under good control? That's been absolutely sorted out, and also just rewording little things so that you can't do things where so it basically says here Thrain must always take this courage test, rather than there being
and his courage, it's stated that his courage test must be unmodified as
well. So
it just clears it all up, doesn't it?
It's not getting debuffed by Harbinger of Evil and things like that, or even on the opposite side Galadriel. So just one more good hero to talk about, and it is Beorn. Now I think that Beorn was probably one that people wanted to see maybe tweaks a little bit. I was curious to see whether what we might see is his points going down a little bit because he's very expensive, but we've not seen that. But we have seen a couple of changes. He's still 200 points. Everything is exactly the same except two things. There have been a change to his Skin Changer special rule for the better. But more importantly, his crushing strength. Let's talk about Skin Changer first of all. So Skin Changer, on a roll of a 4+, he turns into the bear. However,
how many times have you heard people saying, I rolled turn 1, I rolled turn 2, I rolled turn... Now you can use Might.
You can use Might. It is now one of those rolls that you can use Might to modify, which is a good change. If you're paying 200 points for him, you need to have some degree of control, and if you've got to spend Might to do it, that's still pretty bad. It's still pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes you need him straight away. Some of them,
absolutely,
Maelstrom of Battle and things like that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that that's a really good, subtle but welcome change. But more importantly, it's crushing strength. Now previously, crushing strength was you would choose to inflict a strength 10 hit and you would roll to wound. In most of the time with a strength 10 hit, that means that you're going to need 3s. Okay, but the issue before was that you roll, and if you're doing that against a hero, for example, or if there's fury or the like, if it's saved by the fate point, that's it. And the issue with that was it always meant that it made sense to rend.
Yeah.
Why would you ever use crushing strength instead of rending? Rending is most likely going to be 3s. Yeah. So why would you use it? But they have made a change, haven't they?
Yeah. Now it's just if you do cause the wound.
Yeah. If you cause the wound, you can keep on rolling. You can keep on rolling. So if you win the duel, instead of striking as normal, choose a losing model. That model immediately suffers a strength 10 hit as Bane engulfs him in a deadly embrace. If the to wound roll is successful, The victim suffers another strength 10 hit, and so on until the victim is dead or Bane fails to wound his victim. So remember, it's a to wound roll, so you can might this. So you could, I mean, let's just say, for example, you were fighting against Smaug and he managed to win the combat. Theoretically, it's probably not going to happen, but you could just wound him until he dies, which is great. And I think that this is a welcome change. All of a sudden, you're going to use that, especially, well, you're going to use that against multi-wound models and also heroes.
Yeah.
He becomes one of the best hero killers in the game, along with Radagast on Eagle and also Azog.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm really happy to see that change, because it means that at 200 points, you probably are going to get his points back if you can take down a couple of heroes.
Yeah.
As long as he can win that fight early on when he's still got might, 3+, 3+, 3+. Oh, I rolled a 2, point of might, 3+, 3+, hero dead.
Yeah.
Absolutely great change. And that's it. That is it. That is all of the good heroes from the There and Back Again. What did you think? Because this is really your first opportunity to see it in depth.
It's the first time I've gone through it in depth. Really impressed. I think the guys have done an amazing job.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I really want to play all the new stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've got Lake Town. I'm a Lake Town player. Can't wait to play that. I've got lots of the other stuff from the evil side as well, which you'll hear about in future videos, which I'm really excited about. And the Iron Hill stuff is really cool.
It's very cool.
Really
I mean,
cool.
to summarise, it looks like some nice tweaks and changes with the Champions of Erebor, so that they perhaps fit better at different points values, so you can actually create lists with them. Some of them are a little bit cheaper, some of them a bit more expensive, and gain things and options for war gear in particular, which is good. Of course, we've got the new Iron Hill stuff, which we know is amazing. We've talked about Dane and the like. Some tweaks to Thranduil, which are brilliant, with the extra war gear and option of the Elk. Legolas. No more Legolas, it's the old Legolas profile, but comes with armour, with the option to have Orcrist and the Elven Cloak. Tauriel's got a bow. Mirkwood Captain, it's the extra defence. Palace Guard has now not got the option for the shield, for the spear, but it has an option for the shield. Lots and lots of little changes there. Combined profiles for Bard. Lake Town's had a massive boost. They were good before, but oh my days, these guys are going to be incredible going forward. Lots of cheap heroes that buff the army and are able to do things. Galadriel's changed, and Radagast's a little bit cheaper. Thrain special all sorted out, and Beorn, you can now might up his skin changer, and you've got crushing strength. So that is it in summary. We really hope that you enjoyed that. Remember, stay tuned on the GBHL podcast, because all of your channel hosts are going to be talking about various areas of this book. Steve and I have got one more thing to talk about, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
We're going to be talking about the army lists and the army buffs for taking pure armies, which is going to be really exciting. Remember, you can also go over to Hotgates Gaming to see me talking about absolutely everything in here as well. So I do suggest you guys do that. Don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe.
Support your Hobbit hosts in the links below.
Make sure you check our Facebook page and our Twitter.
And support your Hobbit hobby.
Happy strategy battle gaming, guys.